I'm going to quickly walk you through how to use this free sample of my matching game generator. Okay, so we're going to start off by opening up the generator file. Now this is actually a copy of the original file, and I recommend that anytime you want to create a matching game that you always work on a copy of the original so you don't change the original. So we're going to start off by opening up the generator file, and I need to enable the content so that the macros will work, otherwise the generator won't work. Okay, so you start off with this welcoming screen that just gives you some information about how the different kinds of games that you can make and the different kinds of cards that you can use in your games. So you can make a matching game that has identical cards or that has related cards. So identical would be like 2/4 matching 2/4, or related would be something like 2/4 matching 3/6. Okay, you can also create your matching game using cards with pictures, text, or captions with pictures, and you can also use a combination of those. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next slide, and here you can see that this tells you the number of matching pairs you can have in the game. You can have up to a maximum of 75, so I'm going to put 75 in because the number of pictures I'm going to be using in this example, I actually do have 75 for each set of pictures. Then in this free sample, you can only create a game with 1 level, but in the full version you can create a game with up to 5 levels. But over here I can only do with 1 level, and I can only create it with 6, 8, or 10 cards. In the full version you can use any of the number of cards that are in this table over here. Okay, so I have already got over here, very easy, the number of cards is 6, and I'm just going to keep it like that for this example. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press F5. Before I do that, so it says over here, please note the number of cards in any level cannot be more than double the number of matching pairs you filled in above. So just be aware of that if you only put 4 in here and you have a 10 over there, then 4 matching pairs is the same as 8 cards. And so you can't have 10 cards in your game because you don't have enough cards for that. So just be aware that those two numbers do actually need to work together. Okay, so once I have done that, once I'm happy with what I've got over there, I'm now going to go and start my slideshow by pressing F5 so that I can go and choose between the different card type options that I have available. So F5, and so I can choose between identical cards and related cards. So if I choose identical cards, these are the options I have. I can have cards with text, with pictures, or with pictures with captions. If I choose related cards, then I have a few more options because, like I said, you can have combinations. So you can have text matching text, pictures matching pictures, picture with caption matching picture with caption, picture matching text, text matching a picture with a caption, and a picture matching a picture with a caption. And obviously, in all of these, the texts can be different, the pictures can be different, and so on. Okay, so in this example, I'm going to be using this picture with a caption as my example for you. So I'm going to go and click on there. And now you can see over here, it brings up the slide over here, which gives you some information about what you need to do next. So if you just read through it, it says you have chosen to create a game that has 75 matching pairs. That's based on the number that I filled in that block over there, using 2 sets of pictures because I chose picture and picture with a caption. So I need to go to the folder containing this generator file. This actually isn't really necessary. You can put it anywhere you want. It just makes it easier for you if it's all together, and create 2 new folders for your pictures. Add all 75 pictures for set 1 to the first folder and all 75 pictures for set 2 to the second folder. Make sure that the names of the pictures in the 2 folders match so that the matching pictures will correspond. Okay, so let's go and have a look. I've already prepared my pictures. It doesn't matter what I call these because the generator isn't going to be putting the pictures in automatically. I'm going to be putting those pictures in myself. But and like I said, it actually doesn't matter where the folders are. I just prefer to put them in the same folder that this generator file is in because then everything is together. Okay, so let me just show you. In my set 1 folder, I have got all of my pictures. There are 75 pictures altogether. And in my set 2 folder, I've also got all my pictures. Now you can see over here, I've got 1/2 matching 1/2, and then 2 halves matching 2 halves, and so on. You need to, like I said, make sure that all of the pictures do correspond with each other so that when the game is generated, the matching pairs will correspond as they are supposed to. Okay, so now let's go back over here and continue reading. So now you're going to go to the Insert tab, click on pictures. So I'm going to go to insert, click on pictures, and then choose to insert from this device. And then we're going to navigate to the first folder that we created containing the 75 pictures for set 1 and insert all of them on the slide. And then the instruction for the second set of pictures is the same as well. So we're just going to insert all of the pictures for set 1 and then insert all of the pictures for set 2. And once we have done that, we are then going to follow what it says over here, where it says, once you've finished adding your pictures, start the slideshow from this slide by pressing Shift and F5, or you can just click on this button over here to start the slideshow from the slide and click on the Arrange Pictures button. So that's this one over here. So once we have finished inserting all of our pictures, we don't need to move them around or anything. We're just going to start the slideshow and then click on that button, and it will arrange all the pictures for you. Okay, so I'm going to go to Insert, Pictures from this device, and then this is my first set of pictures that I'm going to be inserting. That was from picture set 1 that I got over there. Good. So insert, I'm going to select all of them and then insert them. And then I'm going to do the same thing, insert pictures from this device, and then go to the other set that I had. So select all of them and insert. Okay, so now once I've got that, I can then go and start my slideshow from the slide. And now I'm going to click on this button over there. And now it has arranged all of them and also put in tables that I can now add my captions. Because remember, I chose pictures with captions. Okay, so here's the picture for card 1, and here is the picture and space for the caption for card 2. So I'm going to go and add in my captions now. So this would be 1 half, then 2 halves, and so on. So I'm just going to go and fill those all in, and then I will come back. Okay, so I have finished adding in all of those captions. So now we're going to go and customize what our cards are going to look like. So let's go to the next slide. You can see over here that you can customize the card backs and you can customize the card fronts as well. So first let's do the card backs. So here you can change the color, you can change you can make it a gradient or a pattern or whatever you want, or you can also put in a picture if you would like to. That's what I'm going to do in this example. So I'm going to put a picture in. So go to Insert, Pictures from this device, and I have got my pictures ready over here. This is what I'm going to be using for my card back. And once I've got my picture, I can then also change the background color that'll be behind that picture if I want to. In this case, I'm not going to, but I could if I want to. So if I wanted to change that to orange or whatever, then I would just change that, and then I would create my card back, and then the card back would have the picture with that color. In this case, it's just going to have white behind because that is the default color. Okay, so in order to click on this card back, create card back button, I need to go and start my slideshow from the slide, and then I can create my card back. Now you can see over here that it brings up this compressed pictures window over here, and the reason for that is because I have put this in so that if you are creating a game where you're using pictures that start off really, really big, and it's unnecessary for them to be so big because they're going to be sized down to whatever size, like this size over here, then that makes the resolution way higher than it needs to be. And especially when you're working on something that is purely for digital use, it's not meant to be printed, you don't even need to have a very high resolution. So this compressed pictures window that comes up is so that you can make the resolution no higher than 330 ppi at the size that it is at the moment, which means that the file won't be slowed down unnecessarily while a person is playing the game. So in this case, this was actually a pretty small picture to start off with, so it doesn't need to be resized, it doesn't need to be compressed. That's why you can see that these options are grayed out, because the picture is already smaller than that already. So I'm just going to leave it at the default resolution because it is already smaller than 220. So I'm going to go and press OK. And now I can go and change my card fronts as well. So what I can do for the card fronts, again, I can change the background color of the card front. So that is whatever is going to be behind what I have inserted over here. So behind my text or behind the picture or whatever. Okay, so over here, my card front, in this case, this is the one that would have these over here. That's card A. So I'm going to change that to a different color. I will make that yellow. And then this one over here, I'm actually not going to change the color because it is going to have this picture and it's going to have the text. And it's going to be a little bit more difficult to see it if it's a different color. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it white, but I am going to change the font. I'm just going to make it that font, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Because this is a caption picture, the picture will be put on top there and the text is already aligned to the bottom. This one, because it's just a picture, it doesn't have any text, and the picture would be put into the middle like it was for the card back over there. Okay, so once I'm happy with how all of that looks, I can also change the outlines of these cards as well if I want to. Okay, but once I'm happy with how all of that looks, I can go to the next slide, and then I can just click on that generate game cards. But in order to do that, I obviously need to go and start the slideshow. So let's click on that and then click on generate game cards. And now it's bringing up this compressed pictures window again for the same reason. Now this time, these pictures that I was using over here are bigger than the card back picture, that flower that I had. So what I am going to do is I'm going to choose 330. I don't want to choose high fidelity, and I don't want to use the default resolution because neither of those will compress the picture, and it'll leave those pictures at much higher resolution than what they need to be. So I'm going to change it to 330 ppi, which means that it'll still look good on the screen, but it won't mean that the file size will be too big, and it won't mean that the file will be slowed down too much while somebody's playing the game. So I'm just going to click OK, and then I'm just going to check through and make sure that I'm happy with how all of these look. If I want to, I can change the formatting of individual cards at this stage. So I could change, if I needed to, the size of the font for individual cards. I could also change the color of fonts. I could change the borders. I could change over here. I could change the fill to a different color if I wanted to. So I can still make more changes here if I want to. Okay, so once I'm done with that, once I'm happy with how my cards are looking, I'm going to go to the next slide. Now this slide is the reinforcement message slide. Now the reinforcement message, when I was creating this generator, I thought it was really important when you're creating a matching game for educational purpose that students who are playing the game will actually be told when they got a match, because sometimes they might not even realize that they got a match, or especially if you're using a game that has related cards. So I thought it was really important that the concept is reinforced by letting them know that they got a match and showing them the cards that were matching. So that is the reason for this reinforcement message that I've got over here. So you can customize what the message looks like. You can't customize the cards themselves. Those will come from these cards over here. You've already customized those. Also, please don't move these two cards because otherwise it'll make the reinforcement messages look funny once you generate them. Okay, so you can move the other stuff around it. You can move this, you can move that, just don't move the cards themselves. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the font, and I'm going to make it a bit bigger and just put it a little bit higher so it's not going over the cards. And I'm also going to change the background of the reinforcement message as well. I'm going to change that to a different fill. So I'm just going to right click on there and go to format shape because I want to put a picture in for my fill. And I'm going to go and get that from file, and that is the scroll over here that I've got that I'm going to use. So now obviously that's not looking so great, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize it. So if I press Control, or on a Mac it would be Command, I presume it does the same thing as on a PC when you do that, and it resizes in both directions. Okay, and the same thing with the other side over here. And so now that's looking better. I also don't want to have this line around here because that's just going to look a bit odd. So I'm going to go and remove the line. So I'm going to change the line to no line over there. And then you can see this is what my reinforcement message, the basic version of it, is going to look like. So now what I'm going to go and do is I'm going to go to the next slide, and I'm going to go and generate the reinforcement message. So again, I'm going to start the slideshow from the slide and click on Generate Reinforcement Messages. And again, you can see the compressed pictures is showing up here. And now it is actually defaulting to 330 because that's what I selected last time. And that is what I want. So I am going to click OK. And now you can see these are all of the reinforcement messages that would pop up for any particular match that is made. Okay, if you are happy with how all of these look, you can then move on. You can also customize again, just like you could over there. You can customize things further if you want to. You can change and make the messages for each of the different messages of the reinforcement messages unique if you wanted to do that. So you could have congratulations as one, and wow, and you did it, or something like that. So you could change those up if you wanted to. You could also even make all of them different with the backgrounds as well. So that's entirely up to you. I'm just going to keep them all generic and the same, but you can change them if you want to. Okay, so once we've done that, we're now going to go and customize the actual game and how it looks. So these 4 slides over here are the game slides. So I'm going to be creating a game that has a spring theme. So I'm going to go and click on them, select all of them, and I'm going to change the background, insert a picture, and I'm going to use the spring background over here that I already got ready. And once I've done that, I am then going to go and change this to Fractions Matching Game. The title of my game, you can put whatever you want in there. They can choose 1 player or 2 players. And here I've just got some basic instructions. You can obviously change the font, you can customize those instructions further, you can change them if you want to. You can remove the instructions entirely if you want to. Or you can put in auditory instructions instead, and I'm still going to show you how you can do that. So first though, in this case, if I'm going to be using these instructions, then I want to just send or put a shape behind it, send this to the back, and I'm going to make that white and remove the line, and I'm going to make that slightly transparent just because it's a little bit difficult to see the instructions against that background. So I'm just putting that in there so that you can still sort of see the background. It's not completely hidden, but the instructions are more visible. Okay, now if you are creating a game for younger students who maybe can't read the instructions, then you may want to put in auditory instructions instead. So that is actually very easy to do in PowerPoint. All you need to do is go to Insert and then Audio, and you can go to Record Audio, and that brings this little window up, and then you can click on the record button and say whatever your instructions are. So to play this game you need to blah 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 blah, and okay, once you're done, you then have your instructions, and you can change what that icon looks like if you want to. And also, then if they click on here to play this game, you need to blah 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 blah, and while they're playing, they will obviously then hear the instructions that you have put in there. Obviously, this is not a legitimate set of instructions. You would put in proper instructions for students who are playing the game. Okay, so I'm going to leave that over there for now. Okay, and then let's go and have a look. This over here is the level slide. This is where students would choose what level they want to play. In this case, obviously, because it's the free sample, you could only create a game with 1 level, so they won't be choosing a level. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to remove that. I'm going to put this in the middle, and I'm going to change it so it says Start Game, because then they just need to click on that. They've already chosen 1 player or 2 players, and they just click on Start Game, and then it'll take them to the first slide of the game. Okay, so what they're going to do, what they're going to get to next is if they chose 1 player, this is what they would then be taken to, and there'd obviously be cards on the slide that they'll be playing with. And if they chose 2 players, this is the slide that would be taken to. Now, everything on all of these slides is completely customizable. You can change the fonts, you can change the colors of the buttons if you wanted to. You can do whatever you want to. In this case, I'm going to leave all the buttons as they are, but I am going to change the backgrounds of these scoreboards that you have in the 2-player game, and I'm going to go and change the fill to a picture, and I'm going to use this one because I like having it look a little bit like that chalkboard. So that is what my 2-player game slide is going to look like. Once I am happy with how all of these look, I am then going to go to the last slide, and this is where you're going to do the actual generating of the game. So it just gives you some information. It starts off by saying, while your game is being generated, please do pay attention to what it says over here. While your game is being generated, the following things will happen. This is just going to tell you what is actually going to be happening when you click that button. Okay, so this file will be saved with everything that you have done to it. So all the changes you've made, everything you've inserted, all the formatting you've done, all the text you've added, everything will be saved. Okay, the slides will be added for the game to work. So slides for the levels will be added, and so on. And they will be added using everything that you have inserted in this generator. Cards will be added to the slides, and animations will be applied to the cards. Links will also be created between the slides, so they can move between the slides rather. And then 3 versions of each level. In this case, there is only 1 level, so 3 versions of the level will be created, so the players can replay the level 3 times, and each time it will be different. When they click play again at the end of the game, then it'll take them to the next version of that level. And then when they click play again for the 3rd time, then it'll take them back to the first version of the level again. All slides that are not part of the actual game will be deleted. So that's the slide that we're on at the moment, and then all of these slides from here up to the first one over there. Those will all be deleted. So that is the reason that I made sure in the code that the file gets saved before any of those changes are made. So once your game has finished generating, you need to make sure that you don't just save over you don't just save the file normally, because then you will save over everything that was saved before, and you will lose all of the stuff that you have put in here. And then if you wanted to go and edit your game later on, you would have to redo it from scratch again. So I'm going to still talk to you about saving that game over here. Over here, you've just got a message just saying, please be patient as your game is being generated because your computer is having to do a lot of work. In this free sample, it doesn't actually take very long because you're only making 1 level, and the level only has a few cards on it, so it doesn't take that long. But when you're using the full version of the generator, it can take quite a long time because you can be making up to 5 levels with a large number of cards on those in those levels. And so that can take quite a long time. So that's just the reason for that message over there. Then, once you have finished generating the game, you are going to need to save your game. So now, the way that I created this was, so I created it in such a way that once the game has finished generating, when the game is being played, it works entirely with animations. There are no macros needed for the actual game to work. So, when you save your game, you do not need to save it as a macro-enabled file because it doesn't need the macros. So what you're going to do, what I recommend, is that you save it as a PowerPoint show. And the reason that I recommend that is because when it's a PowerPoint show, for one thing, the macros are removed from the file, which means that anyone using the game doesn't need to worry about the macros. They don't need to enable macros. They don't need to worry about potential security risks with macros or anything like that. So that was very important to me, was that users of the game would not have to worry about macros. And a PowerPoint show file doesn't have macros, and a regular PowerPoint presentation file also doesn't have macros. So you could save it as a regular PowerPoint presentation file. So to get to the Save As window, you can either go File, Save As, or the method I prefer is just Control-Shift-S or Command-Shift-S if you're on a Mac. And that will get you to your Save As window. I'm assuming it works the same on a Mac. Okay, so once you have brought that up, then what you're going to do is you're going to go and change the file name. Obviously, I'm going to call this Fractions Matching Game. And then you are going to go and change the file type. Okay, so I'm going to save it as a PowerPoint show. Okay, but we're not going to be doing that yet. First, we need to go and generate our game. So let's just close this out over there. And now we're going to go and generate our game by clicking on here or pressing Shift and F5. And then I can go and click on this button. And by clicking on the button, you can see is busy doing stuff over there. And there you can see now that all those extra slides have been taken out and slides have been put in with all the cards and so on them. Okay, so now what I'm going to go and do is I'm going to go and save it. So Control Shift S or Command Shift S, and that brings up the Save As window. So now I'm going to go and change the file name to Fractions Matching Game, and I am going to change this to a PowerPoint show. And then when I click on this, you can see now a window pops up saying, do you want to save the file as a macro-free presentation? I think that on a Mac, the message is more like, do you want to remove the macros from this presentation or something like that. It doesn't matter what the message exactly says, just the concept is, yes, you are removing the macros. So yes. Okay, and then once you have done that, we can go and test this. So I'm going to close that, and I am going to go over here, and now you can see that this fractions matching game has appeared. So I'm going to click on here, and this brings it up in slideshow mode like I said it was going to. And we have got our instructions. We've got the option to choose 1 player or 2 players. Here I still have the auditory instructions, that the fake instructions that I put in here, so you can see that if you had younger students using this game, you'd be able to do that. And then obviously to play this game you need to blah 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 blah. And okay, so that is whatever you have recorded over there, so you'd be able to have your auditory instructions there if you want to. Okay, and then we can go and click on the 1 player, and I'm going to start the game. And now you can see that it has brought up the cards that I have in my game. This is what I chose for the back of my cards. And now when I click on one, it turns over, and there's 4 12s, and I click on the next one. It's not a match. Now when it's not a match, they need to click on the cards again to turn them back over again. And then we're going to carry on. So 4 12s was this one over here, so that is a match. And now you can see that this reinforcement message has popped up saying congratulations and showing the matching cards. Then when they click on this message, it disappears along with the cards that we're matching. And now we can carry on our game. So 4 quarters was that one over there. Again, it brings up our reinforcement message, and then the last set over there. Okay, and then when they click play again, it takes them to the next version of the game. So you can see that this is now different to what we just played. The cards are different. They are re-randomized. And that means that they can play 3 times, and each time they get a different version of the game. Okay, that was 1/10, which is a match over there. And then over here we have 6/10, which is a match over there. And then these ones obviously match as well. And then this is the 3rd version of the game. So we have that over there. And then 7/9 matches that one. And here we have 8/10, which is not that one. It is that one. And then our last matching pair is that one over there. Now when they click on play again for the 3rd time, it takes them back to the first one again. So you can see this is now the same as the first time that they played, which I think was the same as that. Yes. Okay. So those ones were the same, and these ones were the same. So when they play for the 4th time round, after they've played 3 versions of that level, then they will be taken back to the first one again. Now let's just quickly go and have a look at the 2-player version. So if I go and press start game, now you can see that we've got the scoreboards over here. The game works the same though, so we click on there, and you can see these are also different cards to what we had in the 1-player version. It's all randomized again for a 2nd time round. Okay, so those don't match, then those match. So player 2 would have got a match there, so they can give themselves a point. And click on there, and then they can go again. Okay, and that does not match. So now it's player 1's turn, and that's a match, so they can get a point. And then that is a match, so they can get another point. So player 1 has won. Okay, and then because there are 3 versions of the level, they could do a best out of 3 or something like that. Okay, so that is how the game works. So now I just want to quickly go and show you. If we go back to this file, which remember I told you it was saved at the same time as generating the game. So when I open this file, you'll see that over here, it still contains everything that we added. All the formatting we did, all the pictures we added, everything is still here. So you could go and make changes. You could just change the theme if you wanted and make the whole game look entirely different. Just by changing the theme, you could go and, if you realize that you made a mistake with something, you could go and just edit that little thing and then just generate the things you need to again, and then generate the game again. So it's very easy for you to just redo that. Then also I want to show you what it would look like on this slide, this input slide, anytime that you choose a different version of the game to create. So in this case, I chose to create a game that had picture and picture with caption. But remember, there were different options that you could choose. So if I were to choose to create, I'm also going to just change this to 10 over there. Okay, then if I were to choose to create a game with only 10 cards, then if I press F5 and I choose identical cards, if I choose text, this is what it would look like. It brings this up straight away. It doesn't tell you to do anything because you don't have to put in pictures. Okay, then it only has 10 spaces. If I had chosen 75, you would have 3 columns with 25 in each so that you can put in 75 items. So it customizes it based on the number that you put in there. I put 10 in, and that's why there are only 10 spaces over here. Okay, then if I were to choose, let's go F5 and go to identical cards with pictures, then it brings this up. Now, because I'm only putting in one set of pictures, because it's identical cards, so I don't need a second set of pictures, it's only telling me to put in one set of pictures, and it's telling me specifically I must put in 10 pictures because we chose to have 10 matching pairs. If you put in a different number of pictures, it's going to give you an error. Okay, so just be aware of that. A message will pop up saying please change it because you can't have that many pictures. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go and insert 10 pictures. So I'm going to go to insert pictures from this device, and then I'm going to put in 10 pictures. So that's the first 10 over there, and I insert that. And now I'm going to go and start my slideshow and click on arrange, and you can see that it has inserted those pictures over there. If I tried putting more pictures in, like I said, it would give you an error because you have said over here that you want to have 10 cards, or 10 matching pairs rather. Okay, now let's have a look at what it looks like if you are going to do pictures with captions. Okay, same thing. It brings up the same message because you have to do the same thing with pictures over here. So we're going to go insert pictures from this device and add those 10 pictures again. Okay, but this time when I click on arrange pictures, it now puts them in and gives you space for putting your captions in. Okay, then let's have a look at what it looks like so that was the identical cards. Now let's look at the related cards. So text and text, it goes straight to this because you don't need to put pictures in. Here you can see you can put in the text for card A and card B of the first matching pair, then card A and card B for the second matching pair, and so on. Okay, then let's go and have a look at related cards with picture and picture. So now again it's telling me to put in the pictures, but this time because I'm doing picture and picture and they're related, that means that they're not going to be the same as each other. I need to put in 2 sets of pictures. Okay, and they need to be 10 pictures for each set. Okay, so I'm going to go and insert my pictures from this device. So I'm going to put in 10 pictures from this folder, and then I'm going to put in again pictures from this device. From my other folder, I'm putting in 10 pictures over there. And let's go and arrange the pictures. And now you can see that it has arranged them like that. There's no space for putting in text because that's not what I chose for this option. I just wanted picture matching picture. Okay, so let's go and look at the next option. So we've got related cards, and then we've got picture with caption and picture with caption. Same thing comes up as the previous one, because again, we're putting in 2 sets of pictures for this one. So arranging pictures we can't do until we've put the pictures in. So let's go insert, and over here, I'm going to put in my 10 pictures, and then I'll put in my other 10 pictures from the other folder. Like that, and then I'm going to go and arrange my pictures, and then you can see it's put this over here with space for the captions in each case for each picture. Then let's have a look at the next option for related. We've got picture and text. So now when I click on here, it's again telling me to only put in 1 set of pictures. So I'm going to go and put in the pictures that I would be using over here. So I could maybe I could choose if I'm wanting to use these pictures or if I'm wanting to use these pictures, whichever ones are the ones that I'm choosing. So I would put those in and then start that and arrange. And then you can see it's put in those pictures, and then it's put in a table for me to put in my text for the other set of cards. So this is not a caption for those pictures because it is related cards. So this is this is the one card, that's card A, and this is the text for card B over there. Okay. Then over here, let's go to the next option, which was text and picture with caption. Okay, same thing as the previous one. Because there's only 1 picture in a matching pair when I'm choosing to have text with a picture with a caption, I'm only going to be putting in 1 set of pictures. So I'm going to choose, or I'm going to go and put in my pictures that I'm using. So I could be using these ones. And then I will go and arrange my pictures, and it puts in over here, this is for the text for the 1 set of cards, and then the picture and the caption for the 2nd set of cards. Okay, and then the last option is the one that we already did. So let's just go back here again. So this is the one that has picture and picture with caption. So I would then go and insert my pictures. So it would be, in this case, I wanted to have these ones as the ones that don't have captions, so I put them in first, and then the ones that I want to have captions must go in second, so I'm going to put those in next over there, and then I'm going to arrange pictures, and then you can see that I've got over there, these are the ones that don't have captions, and these are the ones that do. If you put them in the wrong way around, you can then just go and choose your option again and put them in the opposite way around to what you just did. Okay, so that is what all the different inputs slides look like for all the different options that you have for the cards or the games that you can create. Right, I hope that this video has been helpful and that you can understand now how to use the generator, and I hope that you will enjoy creating and discovering what you can do with the generator. And if you do enjoy using it, I hope that you will head over to my store and go and get the full version, which you can then create much bigger games with more levels and more cards, etc. And obviously also this version, this free sample, is only for personal use. If you would like to create games that you can use commercially, so if you want to sell them on TPT or any other platform, then you obviously need to get the commercial version. Right, I hope you will have a fantastic day. Thank you. Goodbye.